The landlady walked up to the taxi driver and said, "Hey, all the taxi drivers finish their work and pay on time. What's your problem? Why are you always late? Come on, give me the money." The young taxi driver took some cash out of his shirt pocket and handed it to her. The landlady counted the money and frowned. "This is only $7. Where are the other $5? The taxi driver replied softly, "Ma'am, I've had a fever since morning, so I couldn't work much today. This is all I have right now. Please take it." The landlady snapped, "Stop making excuses. I need $12 every day, understand? Otherwise, find another job." With that, she walked away. The young driver lowered his head sadly. The next day, the landlady returned and saw him reading a book. She said, "Is this the time to study or the time to work?" The driver replied, "Ma'am, there were no passengers, so I was studying for a while." The landlady said, "If you sit here reading, how are you going to find passengers?" Then she added angrily, "So your studies are hurting my business?" She snatched the book from his hands, tore it apart, threw it on the ground, and said, "Listen carefully. From now on, you work. No more studying." Then she left. The following day, the taxi driver greeted her politely and asked, "Ma'am, what happened to the taxi that used to be parked downstairs?" The landlady replied, "Oh, that taxi? I forgot to tell you. I arranged for it to work for a company. Besides, you people never focus on work. All you care about is studying. You should find another job." The young driver became worried. "But ma'am, how will my family survive now?" The landlady replied coldly, "How should I know? Am I responsible for all poor people? I'll do whatever I think is right." The driver folded his hands and pleaded, "Please, ma'am, don't say that. My entire family depends on this job." The landlady shouted, "To hell with you and your family! I don't care about either of you. Now get out of here!" With tears in his eyes, the young man left and started looking for work. He approached another taxi driver and asked, "Brother, do you know of any job openings?" The man replied, "Sorry, there's no work here. Try somewhere else." A little later, he asked a businessman, "Sir, do you have any work? I can wash your car." The businessman said, "No work here. Try somewhere else." Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. One day, the landlady received a panicked phone call from one of her employees. "Ma'am, the company where you sent that taxi has shut down and disappeared." Sometime later, the landlady took her father to a large company to look for a job. Nervously, she asked, "Is this company yours?" The manager sitting across from her smiled. It was the same taxi driver. He said, "Ma'am, after you fired me, I struggled a lot. I sold vegetables, sold fruits, worked in a bakery, and even drove for ride-sharing services. But I never stopped studying. I worked during the day and studied at night. That hard work is the reason I'm the manager of this company today." Hearing this, tears filled the landlady's eyes. She folded her hands and said, "Please forgive me. I treated you very badly. I should never have done that." The young man smiled. "It's okay, ma'am. The problem wasn't you. It was your way of thinking. If you hadn't fired me that day, I might never have reached this position. In a way, your actions pushed me to work harder for my dreams." The landlady said, "Then please make me one promise. Never fire my father. I'll never forget this kindness." The young manager replied respectfully, "Ma'am, what are you saying? I promise your father's job will always be safe. But I do have one request." "What is it?" she asked. "Please never tell your father that I once worked as a taxi driver under you."